Alrighty. I'm ready to play some more Subnautica. I feel like we're getting closer and closer to endgame. I mean, obviously, we're making more progression, story-wise, and, like, the stuff we have. But... Where is it? There it is. Okay. I'm probably gonna have to go here in a little bit. There's this lady ordering a new washer or stove or something. I don't remember. But me and my dad are gonna go help her move it for her. So I'm probably just gonna hit pause on the stream when that happens, and then come back and keep playing, depending on how long it takes until it gets there. What a nice place to come back into. Like right here, looking out the window. That's nice. I do wish I could scoot that over or something. Alright. So. What to do right now? Let's put on music. Subnautica Stimulus. That's so weird. Trying to find my way back, feel like I can't breathe. Jukebox 1. Down to like 50. Kind of interesting. Is there an option to make it not pause when I'm in my log? still allowed. Alright. Let's look through our log. Sam. Danielle at Omega Lab ran samples on the ice cores we pulled, and he says this glacial ice formed unusually fast. Half the microorganisms from the samples aren't even native to this planet. She said they'd name a eukaryote after me, but maybe she was just being nice. I'm gonna get some more data, like ASAP. Vin said there's some unusual geothermal activity that's causing the glacial basin to collapse faster than expected. Could use some of the geothermal heat in the station. Weird. It's still a bit loud. I feel like I'd barely be heard. Alrighty. Gotta thank Sam from Sebastian. This cave is fascinating. There's some sort of biofluorescent fungus in here. When I shine my flashlight on them, they start to glow. It's beautiful. A relaxing moment on this barren planet. Also, I'm setting a reminder to thank Sam. She's been a bit down lately, but she really is amazing at what she does. She let me borrow an early spy pangolin prototype to get into a couple small spaces down here that I couldn't squeeze into. Excuse me. Maybe I'll get her an extra ration of dessert or give her some extra vending credits. She could use a pick-me-up. Poor Sam. Recorded conversation. Samantha Io and Fred LeChance.
I'm telling you, Sammy, you see some weird things when you
I might have
spend
seen
half
this
your
one
day in
already.
a sea truck.
More vandalism? Was it the sea monkeys again?
I don't think so. I can't shake the feeling this planet is cursed.
There's no such thing as a curse.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's nothing. You wouldn't want to hear about it anyway. Just a huge creature frozen in ice.
What? Where?
In a cave, not far from your lab. And here's the extra weird part. As soon as I called it in, they closed off the area. Don't want anyone going in there.
But why?
Sammy, I'm no biologist, but I think there was something wrong with it. Its skin just seemed off. Alien.
An alien on planet 4546b. No.
I'm serious, Sam. Something ain't right. Wish I could show you, but I can't get back in there.
You can. But I might know how to.
Whatever you're thinking, we never had this conversation.
Except it's like, you know, recorded on a PDA. I heard him talking. Wait a minute. Listen. Alan? Something sounded very like him, at least. Spy Pangolin Log 1. Sam. The spy pangolins are creating so many new research opportunities. They're perfect for exploring tight spaces I can't squeeze into. Little pockets hiding lots of resources. The pangolins can't carry much, but as an added bonus, the fauna seem to generally ignore them. My little robot friends are too cute to get destroyed. Stock up on flares from Elios. To Quartermaster Joe. I almost just died, man. I was chilling on the outskirts, drinking my special tea, trying to watch the sunset, right? Which I know is technically against protocols if I am not accompanied by my official Altera accountability partner. But that's besides the point. Focus, Eloise. The flares. I almost knocked out the headlight of my snowflakes. Sorry. And I strapped a flare over the dash. I was chilling and it flickered out. I heard snow stalkers growls and like 5 minutes later, it scared me and I spilled my tasty beverage. Anyway, I hopped on the snow fox, but I couldn't see. The sun had set, obviously. I could hear them running towards me. I had one last flare in my pack. I got it out and whoosh. All I see are snow stalkers in the light. But what's this? They're scared of me now. I rode I rode out of there. I think it was the flares. We should definitely dedicate some resources to creating more. P.S. Will Altera reimburse me for my tea? Huh. So the snow stalkers are scared of flares. The avian curse.
Communications tower maintenance log. Another day.
We saw this one. This is just me. On my from Piotr. On my application, I mentioned I had severe galeophobia, which is, wait for it, fear of sharks. So imagine my surprise when I discovered the brute sharks here. There's a reason they didn't call them gentle sharks. Anyway, the research outpost is half finished. I scraped my leg on a broken piece of coral. The blood drew a brute shark and I couldn't build the rest fast enough. I used an air bladder to get to the surface. I dropped my builder tool inside the base. If anyone makes it down there, they can have it. Thumper upgrades. The finalized thumpers are pretty useful. The original versions were pretty bad, but these give us almost double the time to explore some of the mineral-rich nodes. The vibrations of the ice worms sometimes knock loose some pretty valuable stuff. If you take the time to search for it, I wonder how all these materials... Oh wait, if you take... I wonder how all these materials even got trapped in the ice. Oops. Who's with me?
Hey guys, I'm so glad you're here.
Where else would I be? Like I'd miss Fred being exposed as the alien intruder.
That's not gonna happen.
But you didn't say you were not the intruder.
No, not this argument again. I beg you.
I think the game will settle this debate.
So, I just want to ask you something quick before Zeta gets back and we start playing. It's about the cavern with the frozen Leviathan. I investigated and...
You investigated? When? I didn't see you.
Maybe you were asleep or busy doodling inappropriate sea creatures.
Those drawings are art.
Anyway, I've looked into it, and I think we have reason to be concerned. It wasn't that long ago this planet was uninhabitable. But if we work together, we can get them to put an end to the Corral mutation experiments.
I'm not comfortable with this.
Samantha, you're paranoid.
Come on now. You're Sam out. She has our safety at heart.
And the rest of us don't?
Zeta!
Can we play the game now?
Fine.
Altera personnel. Alexis Rido. Independent investigator. Transgov Affairs. Reports to Altera HQ. Emmanuel Desjardins. Human Resources and Communications Liaison. Reports to Altera HQ. Personality. She doesn't have a personality report. Jeremiah Mergel. He looks creepier than shit, man. Technician. Reports to Emmanuel Desjardins. Current project. Communications tower maintenance. Here's our map. So I wanted to look at this again. There's 5 sites, right? I don't I don't remember that one on the very top. Delta Station. We know Delta Station. We know Fire Robotics. We know the Kappa mining site. We have not yet seen Omega Lab or Outpost Zero. Glacial Basin map. I think we checked out all of this. Margaret Midas log. Number 1.
There I was, 500 meters below sea level. Chunks of the sea base sank around me. One hand gripped the monster's scales. The other was clamped around the shard of metal I'd lodged into her eye socket. A Reaper. Wounded, maybe, but still deadly. I'd already taken out one eye. I damn near carved out the other. We were headed for the void at the crater's edge. Blinded, she was spiraling deeper. I had a choice. Hold on, let go. I clung for dear life as she took us deeper. I had 1 minute of air in the tank. Back then, I could go another 3 with what I had in my lungs. So I had 4 minutes to kill the Reaper, minus a few to get back to the surface. It ain't that I like killing folk. It's just sometimes what you need is on the inside of someone else's ribcage. I killed that beautiful, terrifying creature, and I made for the surface. When I caught my breath, I realized we'd come further than I thought. I was surrounded by watery void, just me and ocean. Nothing else. That far out to sea, swimming back for land wasn't an option. I'd die from exhaustion long before I made it to shore. All I could do was survive long enough to wash up somewhere. I felt a suction, and suddenly, there were vast jaws rising out of the water towards me. It had taken hours for the Reaper's corpse to float to the surface. Using the knife, I clambered up her flank and got a perch on top. I figured she'd float for a few days at least. Enough for me to catch my breath. But would she sink before or after I died of thirst? I had a knife, a repair tool, and 3 liters of water. At least I wasn't gonna die of exhaustion. Now, those Reapers, they're practically all muscle. But there's some fat in there. I was able to keep warm and drink the water. And I didn't have much. But I had that repair tool, so I had a spark. It took a week to light that first fire. And I know more about the burning properties of Reaper fat than I ever cared to. I had to ration fires, but as they burned, I could smoke meat that I carved out of the beast's ribcage.
Damn. Midas is badass, apparently. This standard issue MK3 pawn has been manually altered by its owner, exchanging one of its hot swappable arms for a mandible of a young Czechoslovak. Given the range of available high-tech prawn modifications in the non-classified Altera fabrication suite, these customizations appear to be more of a stylistic choice than a functional one. However, the sharp claw arm certainly could certainly be used effectively in defensive scenarios by an experienced pilot. Memos and miscellany. Operating manual. Pretty sure we read this. New employee training. It is recommended that all training be completed while tower is in test mode. No, this is for the tower. Test mode is a fully functional simulated version of live mode. While in test mode, all communication from the tower, including distress signals, security alerts, and spy transmissions, will be disabled. To initiate test mode, insert the test override module into the diagnostic port as depicted in the diagram to the left. The Activate Test Mode command may be entered via the terminal once the test override module has been inserted. Surveillance status report. We saw that. The T10 team. Practicing mindfulness as a leader. Your team is a sponge, just waiting to soak up the energy you bring into the room. Think of yourself as a teapot, leader. You have the power to saturate your team with a soothing warmth and healing. You also have the power to burn them. The key to infusing those who follow you with calm is to manage the calm within yourself first. That is the power of mindfulness in leadership, which we'll discuss further in the next chapter. But first, let's explore another element of leadership that often goes overlooked: the steeping time. Once you've poured your healing magic over your team, you must wait for the oils and essences from the tea leaves to adapt to their new environment and become fragrant and fully realized. There is power in a healing leader, but a patient healing leader is unstoppable. Mercury 2 logs. Accounting of the Mercury 2 crash. Yasmin.
I'm alive. Stefanos saved me. The Mercury attempted an emergency takeoff and everything seemed fine. I was helping the bridge crew with the emergency takeoff since the crew was short-handed because of everything. I heard the sound of metal tearing and for a split second, everything was tinged bright green and unbearably hot. Then I saw daylight and I was looking down at the ocean and ice. The strongest wind I've ever felt roared in my ears, ripping through the ship. People went flying out the side of the Mercury, so much screaming and chaos. I was lucky. I had just clicked into my sea thinker. Stefanos came out of nowhere, like a malaika, an angel. I felt his rough, calloused hand grasp mine, the gentlest of urgency. It felt like time slowed. He said, "I gotcha. Just follow me, Ella." I don't know how, but he used an emergency tether to drag me to the nuclear reactor core, the strongest bulkhead in the ship. We hit the water and everything went black. He's sleeping. I think he might have hit his head. I'm exhausted. The adrenaline has long since worn off and my body aches. I think I might have fractured a rib. I'm gonna shut my eyes for a bit. When I wake up, I'll figure this out. I'll see this.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. This is every xenolinguist dream. I mean, I was helping with the planetary scans, and there are possible unknown structures on the surface. This could set my career up for life. The images are a little degraded coming through the atmosphere, but it looks like intentional and complex architecture, which means civilization, and civilization means language. Oh, man. And now most of the crew wants to get home. I understand that, but this could be a defining discovery. I'm definitely gonna put a bug in Diana's ear about going to the surface so I can take a team to explore. I desperately hope this pans out. Oh, I can't wait till we get into communication range with Soul again. Layla and the kids would love to hear this. I mean, it's rough being away from them so long, but this might just make it worth it. I'll be able to give them so much more.
Counting on the Mercury 2 crash. So I was thinking about this while he was talking. I heard the sound of metal tearing, and for a split second, everything was tinged bright green and unbearably hot. Did they get shot down by a cannon like what happened with the Aurora?
Vital signs stabilizing.
It's very curious. Is this the same song, by the way? Yeah. I don't mind it, to be honest. Am I crazy? Why is this still at 45? Feels like it should have gone further. I wish I knew better how they worked. Maybe they have to be down below in the water. That would make sense. Okay. Okay. Captain Badass, Diana.
Sol should pay me more to lead these missions. I saved the whole damn crew from destruction. Mercury 2 was nearly obliterated by an immensely powerful energy beam. I don't know any weapon system with that level of capability. The power source to get that kind of range must be, well, otherworldly. We got lucky. The energy signature is similar to some of the weaponry meant to counter pirates on mining freighters. The refraction of the beam across the atmosphere, Orion's belt, it looked like the Northern Lights. Such power. We fired the emergency flares and dumped water from the nuclear core. I think the heat signature confused the weapons tracking for just an instant. I managed a slight evasive maneuver, and I felt the Mercury get rocked by the sonic boom as the nuclear runoff rapidly evaporated. That alone could have taken us out. Definitely asking for a pay raise. This is not what I signed up for. My days of risky missions should be behind me. But what the hell? I still got it. Even if it was luck. Hopefully, whatever didn't want us on the planet doesn't mind when we leave.
So, I don't remember. Subnautica took place on this game like maybe half a year ago. I bet that's how we were able to get here and not get shot down. And then we jumped out using the meteor storm. And that's pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie. So, what I was thinking of wait. Wait. Okay. So she saw the beam on the atmosphere. Like, she saw the refraction of the beam charging up. And she quickly fired emergency flares and dumped the shit from the nuclear core to make a heat signature that fucked with the weapon's tracking for just a second. And then she did a dodge at the same time and made the energy weapon not hit right, which saved the crew. That's pretty fucking cool.
Orion's felt this all went sideways. How could I have known that so much would go wrong? I failed my crew. No, I don't fail. I didn't get into this position by being a failure. It's this desolate land. Frigid. Cursed. Between these tunneling creatures, and the strange sickness that a few of the crew are showing symptoms of, we have to leave.
Oh.
We are prepping for a rapid takeoff. We can't take chances with the vibration.
They got the car.
So we're skipping the systems check. Risky, but I have faith in myself and the crew of the Mercury. Landing this thing was practically a miracle, though. But we have to get out of here. Maybe the weapon is to keep people away, but it would be. It'll let us go. I have to leave the quarantined crew in the cave behind. We will be back for them, but we can't risk an unknown infection spreading through the Mercury. We're packing survival kits for them, but there's only enough surplus for about 2 weeks. I'm telling them that we will come back. But I don't think I can land here safely. Twice. I hate this. I have to leave them behind.
Damn.
I can't risk the entirety of the Mercury.
Damn. And that was the right choice, because they had Kara. They would have fucked all the shit up. It's the whole reason the planet was quarantined. It's because of that virus that made the planet uninhabitable. Damn.
I finished the reactor checks. We dumped a ton of runoff, and we don't need the rods melting down. Then I helped with the scavenging, chopped some veggies with the cooks, and tried to help Diana, but she sent me down to engineering with Stefanos. I've been working with him the last few days. Stefanos. How to describe Stefanos? He's by far the most thorough engineer I've worked with, and no ego. He never leaves a job undone, no matter how late it is. I've never seen him awake before 11, and he always greets me by saying, Kalimera, Yasmin, in the sleepiest drawl. Not a morning person, that one. He listens with the slightest smile on his face and twirls this stray girl by his ear. He asks a billion questions, but I don't mind. He surprised me today. There's an empty room on the bridge, just a spot of negative space in the ship. He set a picnic there and said I need to relax. He even called me a busybody. There were these crazy glowing fungus things he found to set the ambiance. The most exciting part though, drum roll, he can jailbreak fabricators. He made a small batch of traditional Grecian dishes. But the craziest part? He managed to make a suitable falafel for me. I never thought I'd see a good falafel in deep space. Alhamdulillah. A quiet genius, that one. This planet may be a cold mistress, but maybe it isn't so bad.
We need to get off this planet. I mean, the morning started out so well. I took a team of 6 out to find the structures from the planetary scans, and we were all in high spirits. I mean, who wouldn't be? These structures would be clues to another sentient race. It was highly unlikely that another colony would be out this far. We were gonna be in the freaking history books. Everything was going okay. We were a few miles from the ship when our radios picked up an actual signal. It sounded like an SOS. We got overly excited naturally and decided to enter the water to follow it. That decision cost 3 lives. I mean, half my team, they got ripped to shreds by something. They died screaming, alone in the cold, dark waters. I'm not going back in that godforsaken ocean again. I refuse. And some of the animals on this planet are sick too. Weird pustules on the skin, oddly sluggish. I think we should leave. But Diana said we should stay. She thinks the biopatent payoffs will be worth it, but those families will never see their loved ones again. They don't care about no payoffs. We can't return the bodies. I don't care about the accolades or the history books. I just want to see Layla and the kids. I miss the smell of my wife's hair.
Damn.
The kids tackling me at the door again. That's all I want. To get out of here alive. Please.
And I don't think they got out of here.
Well, we landed safely, despite my apprehension. Diana, the adrenaline junkie, took one of her defining risks and paid off. Why hire me as the maintenance engineering officer if you aren't going to listen to their advice? Papa. I didn't go to school for 8 years and get 3 degrees for nothing. I tried to convince Diana that we don't need to stop for repairs. That's what the drift drive and the secondary propulsion system are for. Just a bit slower. But she's in charge, not me. On the plus side, I get to work with Yasmin. I didn't know she was such a busybody. She's been going around the whole ship giving folks a hand. I think she was getting on Diana's nerves, so she assigned Yasmin to me. She's helping me inspect and repair the thruster systems. I thought I was the most mechanically inclined person on the ship, but I think she has me beat. She can definitely teach me a thing, as long as I don't get too distracted by her smile. She's got the best smile.
So Stefanos and Yasmin kind of had like a thing going on.
My instincts are never wrong. Stefanos has always been overly cautious. He hates taking risks, which I suppose is understandable when you're in the back end of the galaxy. But no risk, no reward. Elliot finds evidence of alien architecture on a completely uncharted planet, and he expects me to ignore that? Orion's belt, I would be an absolute fool. We've done some scans, and while there aren't a lot of mineral resources on this planet, there is decent biodiversity. Teams go out in the morning. There should be a significant specimen and sample haul for biopatenting, which will be split among the crew as part of the discovery clause. Let's see Stefanos and everyone else complain when they have a few more Soul Transdev credits in their uniform pockets.
Damn it, Diana.
He'll learn to trust my instincts at some point.
No. Aurora wreckage located. Survivors confirmed. Altera has released voice recordings which confirm survivors of the Aurora crash. That's from part 1. The transmission came from trade ship Sunbeam, which was passing nearby when it detected their SOS. Hey Altera, we've got one of your birds in the soup over here. Looks like they took static. Survivors. We're moving in for a closer look. While the number of survivors is not yet known, nor the true state of the ship, it is known that she has landed with her hull largely intact on planet 4546b. Smaller than Earth and largely waterbound, it is thought the planet has a breathable atmosphere, and the hopes have been raised all around. Sunbeam is registered as a 5-seater cargo vessel, insufficient to evacuate the crew or cargo of the Aurora, but perhaps enough to assess the situation and reassure shareholders at home that their investment is secure. Insufficient to evacuate the crew or the cargo. There's at least a 1 month delay on transmissions from that region of space. In the meantime, Altera is working on every possible solution, including an innovative idea to transmit the blueprints for a purpose-built rocket which could be constructed using the materials salvaged from the Aurora and the planet itself. If the crew could begin their long journey home now, the rescue teams can meet them halfway, shaving months off their return. Altera share prices rose to their quarterly high on the news. And so that's the rocket blueprints we got to get out of there after we disabled the ion beam. Was unexplained ion signature linked to the Aurora's disappearance? An unusual ion signature on the edge of Altera space has scientists baffled, and some have drawn a connection with a similar echo detected around the time of Aurora's reported crash landing. How the two might be connected is an open question, and many in the scientific community maintain they are unrelated and explained by natural phenomenon or even Altera secretly testing new technologies. Fuel has been added to the fire by Altera's refusal to release its full data on the Aurora accident, and recent indications from sources that they will be revising up their list of unexpected casualties without revealing where this information is coming from. Their list of expected casualties. It has now been months since Sunbeam went quiet, with no new information. The salvage teams continue their long journey to 4546. So from that point, it had been months since Sunbeam went quiet. I wonder if the salvage teams were Mercury? No, they were going past. We saw that. We saw these SAM messages. Distress log, minerals. Wait. Oh, it didn't mark these two as red. Alien statue. The statue of this statue of unknown origin, assembled with precision out of a block of pure copper ore. It appears to represent a creature of some sort, and resembles the centaurs of ancient Greek mythology. Several theories have been several theories have been posited. The statue could serve as a cultural marker, denoting the presence or authority of a particular race or subgroup of an intelligent alien race. The possible religious artifact depicting a deity or otherwise noteworthy figure. Artistic expression, an invented form representing imaginative thought. Architect cabling. These high-density architect cabling structures have been discovered running between various sites of known architect activity on 4546B. The cable housing contains what are effectively a form of multi-mode fiber optic communication networks, physically shielded by a microscopic layer of pressed diamond dust. Architect storage media. While we have evolved beyond physical attachment, it is traditional to navigate space-time in conjunction with mobile biomechanical storage media, altered and evolved over time to serve the inhabitants' needs. While it is possible to transfer between media at will, there is some comfort and prestige in improving a body over time. We have settled on a popular format for these media, though there are exceptions. It is a heavily modified version of our pre-civilized bodies. It provides good mobility, easy adaptation, and is easy to fix. In case of disaster, we can back up our data patterns to a sanctuary site for later retrieval. Storage in this fashion is safe, provided consistent power supply. However, unique perspectives and traits which arose from the interplay with this original medium are lost. It is like a factory reset. It is recommended individuals be restored to a compatible medium as soon as possible. Such hollow vessels may be fast grown from seed using specialized blueprints and materials. While it is technically possible for an individual to copy their data in order to duplicate themselves ad infinitum, such behavior is considered beyond rude, and any self-respecting architect would resolve a circumstance by immediately deleting themselves. Did I read this? I believe so. Energy generator. Ooh. Scans indicate that this array of alien hardware serves to accumulate and quickly release megajoules of energy, and is charged by ion cubes stored within. These supercapacitors may be smoothed to transient power events on the conduits connected. These capacitors, fuck, I cannot speak. I'm having trouble reading today. These supercapacitors may be used to smooth transient power events on the conduits connecting various architect sites. Fossil excavator. Based on analysis, it is speculated that this artifact is an archaeological tool for finding and excavating fossil remnants. The main body of equipment is housed between two glide rails. The excavator emits a sonar pulse that gathers data on the ground beneath it. When it bounces back with a fossilized object, it begins the excavation process. A set of lasers emit from the arms and slowly removes micro-layers of material. Once the fossil is revealed, the same carefully calibrated lasers are utilized to break loose materials while preserving the fossil underneath. Fossils can be analyzed using carbon dating and other methods to understand what the environment makeup might have been millions of years ago, which can be compared to current data to look for trends. Ion cube. This green mineral substance has no entry on the periodic table, and an unprecedented ability to store huge amounts of ionic energy within it, likely grown artificially. Cubic, I think I read this. Yeah, 5 kilotons of TNT. Marine life analyzer. This container might have been used to create small microbiomes for aquatic flora and fauna. Design indicates the following likely usage pattern. Trap and ensnare small fauna. Gather data on various organisms responded to treatments and different environmental influences. Use multiple containers to run multiple experiments in parallel. Weird. Material analysis station. Resembling a human electron microscope or mass spectrometer, this is a spectrometer or spectrometer. This tool appears to be designed for the purpose of analyzing physical raw materials. It is speculated that the scanning apparatus might be designed to collect small-scale DNA recipes for the replication of non-living objects. Obelisk. This artifact's function is poorly understood, but scans indicate it is generating a small electromagnetic field. Some hypothesized functions. Energy transfer device. That can make sense. Geomagnetic scientific instrument. Or a communication network node. That too makes sense. Interesting. Water analysis station. This apparent research device seems built to determine the chemical components and properties of water samples. Possible applications. Testing for levels of bacterium in the water. Spectroscopic analysis. An experimental application of light, heat, or chemical compounds via the cylindrical core at the center of the storage chamber. Geological data. Argentite, calcite, crystalline sulfur. Sulfur is highly reactive non-metallic element, usually found in abundance underground. Common applications include production of acidic compounds and combustibles. Probably need that for torpedoes. Fumarole. These blister-like fumaroles are vents for steam and volcanic gases that cycle through stages of accumulations and release in hidden chambers deep beneath the ocean floor. The gas mixture emitted by a fumarole typically contains carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide, sourced directly from bodies of magma. The violent explosions seen here get their distinct purple hue from the additional presence of gaseous iodine in the mixture. Interesting. Galena outcrop. Hydrothermal spire. These chimney-shaped structures are formed from dissolved minerals pushed upwards through the planet's crust. The presence of metal sulfides gives the escaping mineral its dark, opaque appearance. Aquatic life found in proximity may have evolved adaptations to the presence of these toxic compounds. Assessment. Long-term exposure to geothermal emissions may pose risk to human health. Large emerald. Pure emerald is typically colorless. These large crystals contain trace amounts of chromium, leading to the development of distinctive green colors seen here. Mining activity near these crystals suggests they are valued for their applications in architect technology. Limestone outcrop. These unusual geological structures often form around titanium and copper deposits and are distinct to this planet. Closer analysis revealed the stone around the metal has been hardened against erosion, but the mechanism remains unknown. Let's eat and drink. I know.
Vital
I thought the
signs
music stopped playing. I
stabilizing.
was just about to say, I noticed the music stopped playing. Magnetite. Magnetite is an ion oxide valued for its magnetic potential amongst other qualities. It is used in many Federation technologies, including sonar and torpedo systems. Ooh. Ooh. I want both of those. Or vein. Resources behind loose rock. Thanks. Scattered wreckage. Metal scraps may be claimed. Steam vents. These glacial steam vents, or geysers, are periodic, intense hot water vapor eruptions that emerge from crevices in the ice sheet. The temperature of steamy water eruption is hot enough to cause severe first-degree burns in any accidental bystander. The standard Altera multi-purpose dive suits are sufficient for averting skin damage. Uraninite. Uraninite is a naturally occurring uranium oxide, highly radioactive and unstable. Its primary use in the production of uranium reactor rods for nuclear generators. Assessment. Applications in nuclear power. So that's it. Table coral. Each disc is an individual colony of microorganisms, filtering nutrients from the water. Growth patterns indicate the colonies are in direct competition for positions with superior current or light. Unlike other coral species, its structure is malleable, softly pulsating as it pumps nutrients to its extremities, and only turning rigid when it senses physical assault. The jewel-like nodes in the surface are concentrated buildups of rare materials the coral is unable to process. Assessment. Exploitable in computer chip fabrication. Fauna. Carnivores. Cryptosuchus. Cryptosuchus is the large shark-like beast easily identifiable by its carapace of thin, bony plates. Structure. These plates are defensive bony structures that aid in heat absorption among thermal vents. It propels itself with wide-webbed flippers that displace massive amounts of water. Behavior. The sea kitty is a bit of a contradictory creature. Despite its fearsome appearance, it is more roar than bite. While territorial, the sea kitty tends to retreat from confrontation after being attacked once. This is likely a form of agonistic posturing. Aggressive fauna tend to avoid fights if the probability of injury is too high. Assessment. Avoid, but can be handled in a pinch. Penguin and penguins. I think we read about all this. Maybe not. Bird-like creature hunts small fish below the water. Huddles and packs on the ice above. Consumes small prey fish and regurgitates them for its young. Retractable tail and claws allow for fast evasion of predators underwater and maximum grip on the ice. Sharp teeth concealed inside the beak can tear chunks out of aggressors and prey alike. Crazy. Huddles and packs on the surface for protection against the cold. Assessment. Less cuddly than they look. Penguins. Young penguins tend to huddle on dry land awaiting their next meal. Consume almost exclusively fish regurgitated by the adults in the huddle. They stay to the center of the huddle to stay warm and out of the wind. If separated from the huddle, the adults will become agitated and begin searching for their young penguins, so please don't do this. Assessment. Harmless. Pinacarid. An intelligent and curious creature which hunts and forages below the waterline, but returns to the surface to breathe. Its many flippers make this an acrobatic hunter underwater, but it's vulnerable on land, where it is capable at best of a fast shuffle. It generally consumes small fish. Its diet may also include various plant materials. Side-facing eyes, unusual for a predator. These likely serve as a defensive warning system. Purple-tinted antennae on the head detect the movement of prey fish nearby. Shows no aggression towards humans, and even curiosity if there's chance of a meal. I'm gonna feed one. Rock puncher. Oh, look, they got warning signs. A large crustacean which feeds on tiny larvae excavated from coral and rock with its powerful punching arms. Attracted to glow larvae found in and around deep sea rock formations. Hardened chitin claws can thrust forward at close to the speed of sound to break rock and bone alike. Known to attack large creatures which threaten its territory. Perfectly adapted to cave environments. Its 6 legs adhere to walls, and it can propel short distances through the water. Heavily armored, vulnerable only to Leviathan-class predators. Assessment: avoid or redirect with food. Snow Stalker. The Snow Stalker is a bear-like evolutionary offshoot of the aquatic stalker, native to the warmer aquatic biomes of 4546b. Snake behavior. Snow stalkers are typically apex predators in their biomes. They operate in packs and are primarily land-based creatures, but will enter the water to hunt and defend territory. Yeah, I figured this out. Notable physical attributes. Thick, hollow fur that secretes a thin layer of oil. Helps keep the snow stalker warm in the Arctic climate. Modified dorsal fin aid in the aquatic hunting. The cyan bioluminescence on the tongue and the tail help the pack stay together during winter storms. Assessment: avoid. If entering snow stalker territory is necessary, sources of bright light and unpredictable noises have been shown to deter attacks. Spiky trap these things. This highly dangerous carnivorous life form manages to thrive in certain environments in spite of its lack of mobility. It quietly blends into terrain, camouflaging itself among similar looking coral or an anemone. When prey accidentally stumbles into proximity, the creature quickly lashes out with strong adhesive tentacles and will attempt to pull its target into its thorny, gaping maw. Assessment: can be deadly to oblivious explorers. Pay attention to your environment when these creatures are present, watching and listening carefully for signs of imminent attack. Herbivores. Arctic ray, a fast-moving ray species, well adapted to low-temperature environments. 2 sets of wing-like fins enable this ray to quickly change direction and accelerate. Like other rays, it is exclusively herbivorous. Why can I not speak today, man? Assessment: harmless. Eye jelly. The eye jelly resides in deep waters. It is made of 3 distinct body sections: tentacles, the main body, and the bell. The end tentacles are covered. Oops, wrong button. and tentacles are covered in bioluminescent nodes which attract prey. When the tentacles are touched, they emit a shock through specialized cells called cnidocytes. Within these cells are venomous harpoon-like structures called nematocysts, which are triggered by touch. The eye jellies gently drift We'll just keep that one looking. Which are triggered by touch. Eye jellies gently drift with little locomotion, though they can track movement with their large singular eye on top. Hive mind. We read that before. Sea monkeys. A medium-sized and intelligent herbivore which shows great interest in other life forms and their possessions. More research is needed to understand this life form and its behavior. Two finger-like appendages on each forearm are tipped with suction pads for basic object manipulation. Its large turquoise crest is made of rigid bone. Is possibly used as a ramp, although it has not been observed. Sea monkeys roam the ocean almost playfully, largely fearless of predators, seen to form small nests where they hoard objects of interest for unknown purpose. Sea monkey nest. Sea monkey nests are large bowl-like structures made of packed sediment and plant matter. The sea monkeys use their wide flat tails to pack the minerals and form the structure of the nest. The sea monkeys are naturally curious creatures, often drawn to metallic materials, which they gather to reinforce the sides of their nest. Titan holefish. Large, docile herbivore which emits oxygen and is defended by the small, aggressive symbiotes which accompany them. Slow, stupid, and delicious. Complex gills line the inside of the hull, drawing cold water in and emitting warm, oxygen-rich water in its place. Attracts symbiotes, which make the holefish their home, and fiercely ward off any approaching life form. Migrates more or less at random, feeding from nutrients deposited by the symbiotes. The Titan holefish has evolved entirely beyond basic survival mechanisms like speed, intelligence, or hunting. It exists in a semi-permanent state of unreflective calm, swimming forward on impulse, fully trusting the complex ecosystem which supports it. Assessment: valuable oxygen source if you can reach it. Herbivores. Small. Arrow ray. Relatively small ray species capable of fast evasive maneuvers. Feeds on plankton. The fins on its head form an isosceles triangle, which can tilt to perform fast and unpredictable maneuvers. Sharp forward fin tips are capable of spearing attackers who manage to catch up. Assessment: mostly harmless. Bladderfish. This unusual herbivore appears to be mostly defenseless, and bears little resemblance to the other life forms around it. Semi-permeable bladder. The bladderfish is able to filter air and seawater into its body cavity through a unique membrane which surrounds its spine like a bladder. This allows it to remove and consume organic particulate caught on the way and adjust its buoyancy. Open-ended vascular tubing can be angled and contracted to pump out water and achieve low-velocity guided propulsion, largely oblivious to threats and practically immobile at night. Its only identified mechanism is that it's composed almost entirely of water, air, and cartilage. Assessment: edible. Oxygen may be retrieved from the bladder, and added to tanks on consumption. Membrane has applications as a natural water filter. Boomerang. An herbivore encountered in large numbers, found as frequent shallow waters and moving schools. Serrated teeth suggest adaptation for grinding corals other herbivores are unable to digest. Twin fins. Unusually, this species' two fins are cartilaginous extension of its skeleton. They are less prone to damage and provide superior propulsion, but are also harder to grow back. The bright blue tips are in fact the ends of its digestive tract, where the luminescence of the corals it consumes is most focused. Most active during daylight hours and prone to flee on approach, the boomerang can more easily be observed at night when its luminescence gives it away and it seeks the shelter of the seabed. Assessment edible. Hoopfish. A small school mentality of prey fish with a unique method of propulsion and a distinct relative of the bladderfish. Antennae. Rather than swimming, this life form uses the fine green antennae which encircle its body to alter the composition of the water in front of it, allowing it to sail into the low-density space created. Purple-green coloration may be a camouflage adaptation for mid-range light wavelengths, possibly indicating the hoopfish is more active at dawn and dusk. Behavior. While schools of hoopfish will form periodically and even invade predators en masse, this behavior is more social than it is defensive. The lone hoopfish are often found hunting for food and displaying generally curious behavior. Assessment edible. Red featherfish. I need to scan the small blue featherfish. The red featherfish is a deep water variant of the more common featherfish. Its coloring helps it blend into the deeper and darker waters where there is less red light penetration. As a result, the red and black fish are less visible to predators. Spinefish. A small school mentality prey fish closely related to the hoopfish. Gray coloration. A combination of translucent flesh with white rib-like markings give this fish a deathly appearance. It takes advantage of this to avoid the attention of its predators. Behavior. Moves in schools for protection, but will disperse and flee if necessary, whereon those fortunate enough to escape the gaze of their assailants will make for the sea floor and hide amongst the detritus. Assessment edible, low calorie count. An effective bottom feeder with unusual trioptical vision. Mouth parts on the underside hover up and crunch down on small invertebrates on the sea floor, spending much of its time hiding from predators above, where it is camouflaged to blend in with the surrounding terrain when necessary. Forward-facing eyes are unusual in prey creatures, not least 3 of them. Each eye, however, is angled slightly outwards, which gives the triops a field of view of almost 240 degrees. Careful use of this powerful faculty is likely what has kept the triops alive to date. Leviathans, frozen creature, frozen leviathan. We found this thing buried in the glacier. Gave someone a hell of a fright. Turns out it was walking around 1,000 years ago when it fell through the ice. It was infected with the Kara bacterium, the aggressive disease which wiped out the architects and almost life on the planet. It is unclear whether the mutated Kara pustules present are responsible for the ultimate demise of the creature. Since the enzyme cure was released on 4546b, bacterium has all but eliminated. Rare specimens like these provide our only live source. Research on the bacterium, which has been transferred to the secure Omega laboratory, while further research on the creature will be conducted at the excavation site. So when I go to Omega Lab, I'm going to learn more about the Kara and what they were trying to do with it. Claws evolved to retain traction on the ice. Okay. Lots of room for a brain, but mostly bone and fat. Sharp teeth for tearing through flesh and bone. Kara infection pustule. Environmental conditions and subtle mutations suggest that this variant of the Kara bacterium's rate of transmission is somewhat lower than that of the widespread outbreak previously reported on 4546b. The bacteria's capacity to survive for a long period of time off of the Leviathan's corpse suggests highly efficient saprophytic properties. Scans indicate that the pustules are merely the visible component of a dense bacterial network feeding off the dead cells of the Leviathan. Despite the risk, further research is recommended. Vent Gardens. Vent Garden is a stationary Leviathan that anchors itself above the thermal vents and houses aquatic flora inside its bell-shaped interior. Anchoring tentacles. 6 tentacles anchor the vent garden to the sea floor around the vents. Each tentacle is capped by a set of thick curved hooks that grow downwards, keeping the vent garden firmly in place. Transparent bell. The hollow bell of the vent garden has a narrow opening large enough to accommodate human entry. The vent garden feeds on thermophilic bacteria and other microorganisms that spew from the vent below. On top of the bell also has an opening that continuously releases water to maintain a consistent internal pressure. Symbiotic relationship. The bell houses 6 branching platforms that resemble coral. These platforms contain aquatic life that remains safe from foraging herbivorous fish. In turn, the flora absorb and synthesize some of the heavy metals and gases emitted by the vents below. Docile, nutrient-rich harbors flora. A hollow bell of the vanguard, narrow opening large enough to accommodate human entry. So it's got a hole somewhere I can go inside. That's cool. Okay. Flora exploitable. You know what? We'll continue reading all that on another lore recap. Alright. We have spent an hour doing a lore recap. For the lore lovers,
vital signs stabilizing.
Let's do that so that if I open this, it's somewhere easy to close and get out of. Now, I suppose I can look at some of this stuff. Maybe I should go there. I should go check on my powers. Is this thing out? that must be my bioreactors. Yep. Look at all the bladderfish. Alright. Let's do a little bit of exploration on that. Actually, what do I need for some of my modules? Enameled glass, synthetic fibers. I never found the spiral plant. At least to my knowledge. That's my sign, I gotta go. Alright, I'm gonna pause it here. And I'll be back in a bit.